record on this computer. All right. That looks like the Matrix or something, doesn't it? We have mostly been talking about the image side of the poster assignment. Okay, and another important part of it is the verbal side, okay? Because what you are going to be doing, all right, it's the basic image, and what I will be creating a tutorial on that will be up, I think, by Tuesday, on how to get your picture over to how to get your picture from Photoshop over to Illustrator, and then how you can start building that, whether you do a frame, whether you do it full A3, however you're going to do it. So I'm going to show you a lot of different options and ways to actually crop pictures in Photoshop and those things and take it over there. And also the last activity you were doing, and it looked like people were stressing out quite a bit. Now, number one, doing that activity is a way for me to give you credit to play with Photoshop. So that it's not like it involves a lot of correct answers. It involves learning what's possible to do in Photoshop. So there's not right answers. You can use any filter, you can make adjustments, that you're not happy with. But the only way to learn Photoshop and Illustrator as well is to play with it, is to make things, is to manipulate things. So that is why you did that activity. And hopefully when I look at it, I will be seeing the photo that you're going to use. Now, once again, I do. Okay, I am recording. All right. So that's what you've been working on there, and we're getting to that point. Now, I had a student in the other class ask me if that's the picture they have to use. And I shouldn't say this, but honestly, no. You can ultimately use whatever picture you want. In fact, next Sunday on another important day, right? Next Sunday's super important. Somebody tell me why next Sunday's super important and why I have to remember.
Draft submission.
To due date.
Okay, there were a whole bunch of people talking.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay, but are you going to say Valentine's Day first?
I can't hear you.
Am I? Okay, can you turn up your volume? Can other people hear me? Let me see a hand if you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
I can hear you now, sir.
Okay. All right. So,
I had a question for the draft submission. So do we do the poster? Do we start doing the poster and showing you our draft for the poster itself?
absolutely, because it's going to be due a week later. And it's going to include all these elements that need to be in it. So yeah,
okay.
Up to now, you've been playing with things, and I'm kind of hoping you've at least a little bit settled on the image you want, or images that you want to use.
Yeah, I settled a long time ago.
Okay. So you may hopefully are ahead of the game a little bit, but for everybody else moving in that direction. Okay. So what I'm trying to, and that's part of doing the last activity, is that you found some ways to work with that image, or maybe saw some potential you didn't realize before, things like that. So that's what we're doing. And the other thing I just wanted to say is, on the WhatsApp group, I think it's great. You guys are supporting each other and you're answering questions, but the whole thing's in Arabic. So if you're asking a question that you maybe want me to answer, it has to be in English. I do speak more than one language. I speak about 2.5, but none of those are Arabic. And honestly, even if I spoke proper Arabic, it is my understanding from friends who speak Arabic that I might not even understand what you're writing. So because you're doing Kaliji, which we're going to be exploring that in the next project. So If you want me to respond, because I do see it, sometimes if I'm doing something that might be like on the weekend in particular, or late at night, I'm not going to be monitoring it every second, but if you write a question in English, it's a much better chance I can follow. Okay, I get that, Fatma. I am recording. So hopefully you're, let me just type in there. Okay. All right, I get that. See? Fatma, you should be more concerned with learning. Okay, so I've told you those couple of things, but now you are also going to need to add to your image, okay? You're going to be adding the destination name. Now, if you're just doing a product and not doing a destination, whatever it is, I mean, this is going to be a name of that thing. This is also, you're going to be adding a logo. Now, I have for you the Abu Dhabi logo in a vector, which gives you a lot more power over it. I have for you Dubai logo, but it's the Baskin-Robbins one. And I do think I also have the one from the sand. So the Baskin-Robbins is the pink and light blue, and the desert one that I like is more of kind of a gold and a brown orange that I like, and you're going to see it in just a second. But you're going to need to put a logo. You don't create, this is not a logo for you to create. Now, if you have chosen a place, a brand or something, and you can't specifically find a logo, or you can't find it in a vector, that's where, because vector gives you more power over it, gives you ability to shrink it, enlarge it, push it around the image in different places. But if you don't have a version of it, you'll need to trace it. And in fact, one of the videos on the YouTube channel is from last semester and talks about tracing, how you take a bitmap, which is a Photoshop image, and take it into Illustrator, and then you trace it and make a vector out of it. It won't be a perfect copy, but it will be a traced copy, and that'll be okay. If you look at the posters that I've got them all, I've got the best of posted now in instructor learning materials. You can see that there are, like Bosnia Herzegovina and some different ones, there are logos that we most likely traced because they just weren't broadly available. So for making that poster, we did that. But there's also one, and I'll show you in a second, which includes Destination America or some kind of logo with that, because the student didn't find a logo for Los Angeles or Laguna Beach or something like that. I'm sure that exists, but it was okay to use that other logo. So it's a related logo. You're not creating a logo. Now, the interesting thing is brand slogan. Anybody tell me the current brand slogan for Abu Dhabi? Nobody knows. Shout it out, write it in the chat. Anybody awake?
Is it make it happen?
Nope. That sounds like it might have been.
Travelers welcome.
Huh?
Travelers welcome.
Okay, that's the so okay, that's the old one. What?
The Emirates?
For Abu Dhabi. Okay, I'm gonna have to now search too. If you're searching, if Uncle Google told you that. Okay. Okay, Abu Dhabi slogan, motto, I don't know, slogan. Okay, that's the all right, that's the motto for the police, safe and secure. All right, because somebody mentioned that earlier. Okay.
Sir, I wrote brand slogan for Abu Dhabi, not slogan.
Okay. Brand, you did. see, what I would do is go to the tourism slogan. Let's just see what ResearchNet. Okay, that's the old one. It was, look who it was uploaded by, Natasha. Okay, so that's the old logo. Interesting, with the slogan. Wait a minute. Okay, the logo was the one I voted for. There's the Emirates. Okay, are they not going to tell us what the slogan is? Because actually, I think it may be. Okay. Okay, wait, now we're going to have to go UAE slogan. Sorry. Okay, so there you go. Okay, Amal. So that is the UAE logo, the UAE nation brand. Make it happen. Okay, so that would be the slogan if you use the UAE logo. Not sure if I have a vector version of it, but I'm pretty sure I can find it actually on the portal. But let me just type in your extraordinary story. Okay, that is Abu Dhabi. So it was their new global destination campaign in 2016. I actually like it. Travelers welcome, not bad, but a little too generic. So there's family fun, there's Abu Dhabi. So it's your extraordinary story. Okay, so that would be the slogan for Abu Dhabi. Let me go here. Okay, so this is also not something you're going to write. This is a slogan you're going to have. I don't think, since we're asking Uncle Google, let's go back. I do not believe that Dubai has Dubai traffic fines, tourism slogan. Okay, 2020. Let's see what it says. Come to the only in Dubai. Okay, so that was from so only in Dubai. All right, I guess so. It could be a lot stronger. Let's just, I want to see for a second because other things did come up. 2019, only in Dubai. 2018, only in Dubai. So apparently only in Dubai. Let's see, 21. Okay, launching a new global live your story. Positions of iconic, okay, so live your story. Sounds a little familiar to me, but I'll stop. Okay, interesting. Okay, so you will use that brand slogan, your brand slogan. Then you're also going to include 3 hashtags and a brand Instagram account. You are going to be making these up. You are going to be creating these. If you look on some of my old ones, when I first got into doing the hashtags, I had them do YOLO, you will only live once. And then everybody told me, I thought I was being such a hipster, thought it was trending, and I was not even close. So even then, it was cheesy, and looking back on it, it does seem a little cheesy, but that can be like look for whatever the place you have, and you can do searches on I'm sure Twitter, but I know you can on Instagram, is find related hashtags. You use hashtags. This needs to be on the poster, and it needs to be on your fake Instagram post, which I'm going to talk more about on Wednesday. And then you're gonna either, they have a brand Instagram account, and you'll do the handle, which is at whatever. So it's going to be at Louvre Abu Dhabi. It's going to be at Warner Brothers World, whichever it is. But then you are going to be writing a little something, okay? You are going to write a single sentence about the place you are advertising. So you can start off descriptively, but I want it to be more creative. Okay, and what I'm going to show you right now are other our student work. We'll look at a little bit of that, and then you can see some of the things I'm talking about. And then also, I'm going to show you some posters that have been made professionally and some campaigns here. I'm going to take a brief pause, and why don't you guys go find on Blackboard, you can open up student posters, from last fall and from summer. Those had the same requirements you have. The ones from pre-2020 did not have the same requirements, but there's some good creative ideas there, with obviously the Ferrari World one being first in that document, and that is pretty sure the strongest. And then the second one is that one I like a lot, which is supposed to be a Google search page. And that's nice. But I'm going to pause just for a moment, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. And here we are. Let's take a look at the posters. This is from summer. And when I'm talking about the Instagram posts, I do have a site, and I will send you the link where you can make a fake Instagram post. It does not have to be an actual Instagram post. Back in the day, and I probably still have it somewhere, I had an account, and then everybody got the password and they could go in and they would post things. But it's easier, and you can be more creative, and you will be using the image, your key image, or you could put multiple images in there. You could even, I'm not sure you can make a fake slideshow, but you could put multiple images in there. You can put in an image for the account. You can make up the name of the account, its location, how many likes it's had. Then that's where you put your comment on it, and that's where you put in your hashtags. But you're going to be taking from this, the poster, okay, and you're going to be taking that image and finding a way to reformulate it for how you'd use it in social media. So if somebody saw that and somebody had seen that, they would know they're connected. So even here, this one, there is a Burj kind of logo. It's not even the Dubai logo, but that's using that logo, and that's fine. This is the one, this is the comment, and see, she even used one that someone said, who's Emily Mortimer, who's an actress. And that was, I like it. Since I'm from LA, I find it interesting. Los Angeles like a beauty parlor in the universe. Now, the problem is, I knew that this picture is from Laguna Beach, and Laguna Beach is not even in Los Angeles County. But see there, she used the logo Destination America. Here is one I've been talking about to you, which is the Venice, which is a side frame, the picture standing kind of all alone. Nice picture, and a lot of that text I'm talking about. So there's Repubblica Italiana, so there's a logo for it. There's not something specifically Venetian. And then you've got 3 hashtags, a handle, and then here's the phrase, you think Paris is the city of love, think twice. And so there it is. You can see the picture is edited, cropped down a little bit more, and then you get in the same information, but in the spaces that are appropriate. And here is the desert version of the Dubai logo, okay? And so that's a piece of that picture, so you can see, and she used it, and actually it's nice because it contrasts and sort of makes it pop, and that is a legitimate logo. And this could use that phrase, only in Dubai, but then she also wrote from the earth to the sky, and you have the Maldives sunny side of life, and then find your summer escape. That's what she wrote. This is one that I love the photograph, but the placement of the text is just really difficult. And I tried to work with her and we struggled because it's a beautiful picture because of all the darkness and then the lighted parts. But this is just awkward. It actually distracts. So these words probably should have been spread out a little more. And it's your extraordinary story in the singular, not stories. But there could have been some ways. I really feel like this space here probably would have been better for the text. And there's that Bosnia-Herzegovina that I talked about. And here's even Italia. This one's interesting because what I did, okay, so this is what she did and handed in, okay? And I liked the picture. It was interesting. And it's the Italia up in the corner. It's probably too big. And then this is placed dead center. Then what I did was do it a little bit differently. And I altered it just so you could see. This should probably be in white, but it's very Roman. And so that shows what you can do by creating more space and moving this up to the third. So these are, okay, all these different ones. There's, all right. And so even like the Louvre, see humanity in a new light, that is their slogan. And if we go here, okay, there it is. And this is using the words differently. This is using, so you've got see humanity in a new life. That's their quote. There's the Twitter handle and the hashtags. And then Abu Dhabi's Global Museum and the Lifeguard are waiting for you. So that's the line she wrote. There's Abu Dhabi logo. There's Louvre logo. And then there's what it looks like in the Instagram account. That's the fake Instagram. So a lot of those words came out and they went down here. And this is one where actually, gosh, if she'd put it in a frame or something, this picture to me is so strong that maybe the word should have been taken off of it and she should have worked with the frame, because I do love the photo. And then there's even part of the reason is how this blue contrasts with all the color of her hair, the color of the camel, the colors of the desert. And this text is a little big, but there's just so much potential in it. But it does, if you go back, it's got the logo for Abu Dhabi, and then she added Al Ain. I think there's versions of that you can find that don't say Abu Dhabi, they actually say Al Ain. And then there's a handle, there's some hashtags, and some of those parts could have been done much better to really make the picture sing. And then just looking at some different ones. So here, once again, see humanity in a new light, but then the phrase for this poster is walk to the light. There's Louvre Abu Dhabi. So actually having Louvre Abu Dhabi and Abu Dhabi is two logos, and it's not really necessary. Okay, so that gives you that sense. So you guys can look at that and see the different things and think about it. This is okay font, but look at that. These aren't lined up, and that bothers me. Bothers me more now. Okay, but this is a good font choice for what's going on in that picture. And it's a nice picture, draws you in. Okay, so what I want to look at and examine are posters that focus on the wordplay. Okay, so This is a series of ads that is very clearly aimed at somebody like me or expat audiences. It came from the UAE. They created a Fender guitar and Beetle, and the Beetle, the Bug, the Volkswagen Beetle. When they had the new shape of it, Fender guitar is a rock and roll guitar. So they created this music connection between the car and this guitar company where you saw the Fender brand, and I'm sure it was all tricked out inside and had great sound system. So anybody tell me what's the word that's missing? All you need is, should be opposite obvious from the pictures. Is anybody still awake? There you go. Thanks, Amal. Do you know who sang that song, Amal? I'm just testing you now.
The Beatles.
There you go. Okay, so that's a good first one. So this is a nice use of words, and it's letting the people fill in the blank. So it's kind of quoted around the picture of the car. So even somebody in the other class says, oh, all you need is a car. Now, well, no, all you need is love. So that would be love. So the color red, emphasizing love, very simple. But because it's based on the music, then people might be able to connect it, okay? I feel like Amal and I are gonna be having a conversation, but do you know, anybody know Born to Be Volkswagen Beetle? Born to Be, you know this song? Rock and roll song? And actually it's a driving song. Get out on the highway, get your motor running. Anybody? Yeah, okay, yeah, it's just you and me, Amal. So Born to Be Wild. So I hear these songs in my head. It's very funny because I sort of say I'm not a big Beatles fan, but the thing is, a Beatles song, you can't help but sing along. It's kind of like ABBA or things like that. But so all you need is love. And the thing is, it's allowing me to finish it since they know their audience so well. And the ads are super simple. So this is black because it's like hard rock and all that. All right, you're up, Amal. There you go. Okay. I'm going to sing a little song. There you go. Thanks, Noura. Somebody else joining the party. Okay. I'm going to sing it note by note. Don't worry. Be happy. Blue, not really always a happy color, but maybe it's water because it's kind of Jamaican thing. I'm not sure. But this is nice. It's simple visuals, simple words. The font choices are a little crazy and mixed, but that's kind of the rock and roll vibe, pop music vibe. Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, I think you're right. Yellow is a happier color, but I think, yeah, girls just want to have fun. And I think what they did was here, they wanted to stay away from the stereotypical girls, right? Okay, right. Yeah. So they stayed away from the stereotype and they more went with fun. And so yellow is fun, yellow's happy, totally. Absolutely. But I think here they opted for putting it here, and maybe they wanted to redefine blue a little bit and make it a happier color. And they're showing you all these different colors. Any of you guys know this one? If you were looking at my tabs, you could see this is one that I didn't know specifically the answer, but from the structure of the words, I could guess the answer. There you go. Exactly. Shama, do you know the band? Oh, you guys all. Do you guys know the band? Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. So Shama, I knew you knew. Okay. All right. And you might have seen that. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know this band as much, but clearly for me, harder, better, faster, stronger. And yes, down here in the corner, all right, Salama's pointing out made for each other. So the Beetle Fender edition. So the guitar brand and the car brand made for each other. Yes. So it's all there. Really, most of the elements, there's just no hashtags or anything. But so you guys kind of get it. With it, it engages different people, and by having us finish the phrase, we are engaged in it. So it really is very strong copywriting, and the verbal part is huge, and it also directs some of the visual parts. Now here's one that's mostly all verbal, and this is also from the UAE because it's American Garden. Okay, so take a look. Anybody have a reaction to it? Okay, yeah, all right. I agree, Mal. Obviously I included it for that reason. But yeah, see, what you look there, it says disclaimer, and it's like the whole ad. So you want to read the disclaimer. But basically, it makes a claim. Coconut juice increases your metabolism significantly. So they're selling you on coconut juice. So that's what it does. Then the disclaimer, but that doesn't mean you can just sit there and do nothing. So don't think you're going to drink coconut juice and automatically your metabolism is going to increase and you're going to get skinny. And then they decide to change it into something humorous, and they say, but wait, we have a disclaimer to our disclaimer, which is unless you're a ninja. Seriously, are you a ninja? If so, please add us on Facebook. So what they've done is they've sold us on the coconut juice and it's good quality. They've said you still got to be active. And then they've essentially asked you completely indirectly to sign up and follow them. Yes, exactly, Salama. Yes. And everybody wants to imagine they're a ninja, right? So I have to go sign up on Facebook and say I'm a ninja. I'd love to see the numbers of how many people signed up and said they were ninjas, because that would actually tell you how successful it was. Okay, so one of the students in the other class, and I haven't looked it up yet, said something about a Z theory of visual, that we go across, down, across, and that's why the product ends up down here. That fits in with the thing I showed you about thirds, okay? And because this is in that, near that intersection of the lower thirds, this is at the upper third, so it's across there. So we're visually seeing it. The space is very simple. We see the coconut juice. It looks kind of like a hand grenade to me.
Also, because there's just one image.
Yeah.
We're not gonna read. We're gonna watch the image first and then read.
Yeah.
And the picture is blank, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Because and that's where, like when I talk about a frame or something, what you do is you simplify the whole thing. You don't put tons of text on the top of a picture, and you kind of give it a place to live. You give it a frame that's simple, and simple can be very loud in terms of attracting attention. It's even like, very much so. Agreed, Amal. And it's very much like a whisper in a conversation. I'm sorry, because when I watch these videos, it feels like I'm shouting at you. I'm really not trying to. But if I whisper, then everyone listens more closely because I'm whispering. And in the same way, simpler visuals are like a nice whisper that really attract attention and engage people. And then they actually reward it because it's nicely written. So writing is also important. I definitely in this class focus on the visual because we do a lot of writing classes and we do a lot of writing things. And I think we're not doing enough visual things. So this is where that is, okay? So then this one's kind of fun here. And this is playing on the audience and the person. So this is a place in France, I believe, Valcartier. They have a water park. And this is kind of like the Volkswagen that you're filling in the blank, but here, I'm so, and then you go down the water slide, exhilarated. the anticipation is I'm exhausted because it's the dad and he works so hard and all that. So they're connecting so you anticipate the word, but then when you make your way down, you see a different word. So then in the same way, we see the little girl. So the little kid's always, impatient. Can we go home? No, never. Okay, so it's so much fun that can we go home now turns into can we. So that's totally integrating the visual with the words. And that's where I want you guys to keep it simple. I'm not anticipating you're going to do any image like this, but if you can start exploring that, I think I really encourage Noor on that. Yeah, I pushed her to do the lifeguard part on the Louvre, because to me, that had some of this vibe that here it's an art museum, but the question anyone looking at that image would have to ask is, why is there a lifeguard? So emphasize the lifeguard. And then even in her hashtag, she's giving a clue that the kayaking and the other things that happen. So the next one, sorry, it's a little more haram, but they don't say it. And this is sort of the punk rock teenager attitude. What a load of, and then smiles. And this one's actually ultimately the weakest because they're relying on the joke up here at the top. What a load of, and then the defiant kid. And then you come down to smiles. So smiles, whereas exhilaration and never make a little more sense. This one to me is a little weaker, but it's still taking that idea of integrating the cool thing that happens, and then you change, that word changes from what we see in our head that's never written down to then what we see written down and go, oh, okay. So that's pretty creative. This next one is, well, no, I'm going to go right to this one, which is a place in New Zealand, Farm Hostel. It's been around since 1980. Okay, so Farm Hostel. All right, I don't know how much you guys know about New Zealand. Right now, apparently, there's no COVID in New Zealand. Place is totally locked down. Nobody can go there. And it is very rural, mostly. I mean, like, no, I'm going to forget it. Dunedin, I know some of the towns that are big towns in New Zealand are like 10,000 people or something. They are small towns. It's very rural, and it's known for a lot of sheep. So this is a place where you can go, stay on a farm, be out in the countryside. And so they take less hashtag, more haystack. Okay, so that's, get off your phone, get into being in the rural place. And so they even do this nice logo, which combines sheep, okay, but they're also clouds and the rainbow connected in the clouds. So it's this lovely place. Farm hostel, very simple, very kind of raw. And even the way there's like a textured paper, it's hand script. So this place looks very close to the earth. So less hash, okay. This one doesn't do as much for me. I think it's overly complex, but you can see here that it's, okay. It gets so quiet here, you can hear a pin fall asleep. So that's where, it's so quiet in a place you could hear a pin drop. So there it's so quiet you could hear a pin fall asleep. The weakest of the four, in my mind, at least. Okay, then you have so New York 5 stars, Dubai 7 stars. This place, it's the entire Milky Way. So you can experience the great outdoors and nature. I actually am feeling like I want to go there right now. But you can see this amazing view of the sky. So that's telling you. And then finally, it's almost like these create a story. And the fourth one, in the unlikely event that you can't sleep, we have sufficient supply of fenced sheep. So counting sheep, that's a way to supposedly go to sleep, is to count sheep. And then you always see pictures of it. It's sheep jumping over a fence. I've never counted sheep. I don't fully get that, but I guess I should do it if I can't go to sleep. So on those nights. So, but those are really, it's got nice lettering. It's got a nice logo, and then it's a very simple design that each one follows the same sort of box. And the letters actually, like this one, this first one is the biggest, but it sort of establishes this rectangle, and the words always fit in that same space. So it makes like this cool slideshow. And so the words change size so that they fit into that box. And it's about the writing. Now this one's also about the writing. Not totally sure if you're going to get it, but this is from Australia. And can somebody tell me, do your moms try to make you feel guilty all the time? Is that an Arab mother move? Like if you're not hanging around the house, or you're not spending time with your brothers and sisters, or you're not spending time with the family. Yeah, okay. So I think every culture has it. Yeah. And so this is built, yeah, there you go. All right. People are not so different from one another. Okay. So you maybe, if you hear this, okay, so the words are driving the visuals, and the whole thing is the V line. It's a train service in Australia that's transportation. So instead of hearing these guilt-inducing things, that maybe you could do something about it. You could go visit her, okay? So this is about Mother's Day, all right? Don't turn down a shift at work. So that's about making more money, and that's a time card that's going in the time clock. And then it says, then in needlepoint, like a mother in Australia might do, or a grandma in America or whatever, be doing needlepoint just to see me for silly old Mother's Day. So, she, you know, I can hear a voice. My mom wasn't this deep into guilt, but she could go there. Okay, so you can sort of hear it. And then the idea is the solution. So it's like you have a problem as you move your way down. Then it's avoid the guilt trip. And that's the tag, that's the slogan for this campaign, okay? So the words up at the top tell the guilt, then avoid the guilt trip and buy a V-Line ticket before May 12th. So May 12th, whatever year that was Mother's Day. Then you've got this one, which you guys probably hear a version of. Joan's son visited her yesterday. Isn't he nice? Okay, and obviously you didn't. So, and maybe these are aimed more at a son, but they're only a guilt trip away. So it's about the whole notion of a guilt trip, which is a nice turn of a phrase as well. And so then you have the one, like maybe it's to an older person, maybe it's to your sister, your in-laws, whatever. Lily says hi, very childlike. Yeah, she talks now. So you haven't been there in forever and you need to go visit. So they're only a guilt trip away. So only the first one was specifically dated to an event because you had Mother's Day. And then that one's general. And then even this one with your mates. So this is totally Australian, the notion of calling somebody Robbo. Robbo and Wes, total Aussie names. Robo and Wes came up the other day, cricket. It was so good to have most of the old crew back together. So it's kind of crazy typography, but also very nicely structured. It all depends on the art, and it's nicely written. Most of the old crew back together. They're only a guilt trip away. So that's a nice slogan connected with well-written other parts. And we're going to be keeping it short like that. We're not going to do much of anything that's massive writing. I will keep the focus on the visual and the digital and those sorts of things. But this shows the power of writing a good ad and then having the visual art, having the art follow it. Okay, and then I would just show you this one more thing, which goes back to the 60s. And it was a campaign that ended up, it was this one ad agency, and they actually made a movie kind of like this, but it was this one ad agency that decided to really push honesty to the point of it being funny. What do you guys call a garbage car? If you bought a car and it's just horrible, doesn't work, you got to take it back because it's just like you must have gotten the worst one in the lot. Or, you know, it could be a Merc or a Beamer. It could be it could be a Land Cruiser, whatever. But this one just is hopelessly bad. Anybody tell me? You must have a name for things like that. Even it could be a hairdryer or anything sort of mechanical. Is there a word that you can? Yeah. Okay. So how's it translate into English? Something close. You can even transliterate it. Oh, yeah, it always is. That's going to be the next, the lexicon is going to be hard because that's what we're doing next time. But just something, is it a fruit? Is it an animal? Is it a wind? Is it a cloudy sky?
Sir, what was your question?
Huh?
What was your question?
What, can you connect it to anything that I might understand?
The car?
No. When something's a disaster, when it's just a really bad one. So you were expecting to love it, but it was a. Okay, I'll just leave it and say in the West, in the US, we call it a lemon. If my the car is a lemon.
Oh, okay.
And if somebody says their car's a lemon, it means it's horrible. They are not, it would get a bad review on Yelp. Okay. If their trip was a lemon, it would get trashed on TripAdvisor. Okay. So this was before that existed. So this idea of lemon. So what all this copy is about is that this car, this particular Volkswagen Beetle, okay, the old kind, the legit kind, the kind I drove and learned how to drive in, okay, with the engine in the back where it should be, okay, is that this specific one is a lemon and they've thrown it away. And it talks about their standards, that they do detailed inspections, and then you read all about that. And then at the end, we pluck the lemons, you get the plums. So a plum, you know, when something's plum, it's good, it's a plum. So the whole thing is about, you won't get this car. So it's this pure kind of honesty saying, yeah, we make lemons occasionally, but the likelihood the one you're gonna get is gonna be a good one because we threw this lemon away. So that is a verbal idea. I mean, why would somebody stick lemon on an advertisement when it means something negative? Now, this next one, I don't think you're gonna understand at all because it's very political and it's very much from the late 1960s. I don't know if you guys have ever heard or seen, but in actuality, the Volkswagen Bug floats. The car actually floats. And it says if Ted Kennedy drove a Volkswagen, he'd be president today. So he was the youngest brother of John Kennedy, president who was assassinated. Robert F. Kennedy, who was attorney general, was running for president, probably would have won, was assassinated. And then Ted Kennedy was the youngest one, the least sort of hope. He was a senator, just like his brothers. And he was in a car with a young lady. Haram, he shouldn't have been there. And he drove off of a bridge. Mary Jo Kopechne was her name, but he drove off a bridge and he got out and he didn't go back down to save her or even try. And she drowned in the car. So that's terrible, that's tragic, that's awful. But that becomes here that if he'd driven a Volkswagen, it would have floated. If he'd been smart enough to buy a Volkswagen, he never would have gotten into hot water. So this is pretty dark, but it's taking something from history and knowing And legitimately, as advertising, that car has to be floating because that's what they say. It floats. There's the first line is right here. It floats. The way our body is built, we'd be surprised if it didn't. And then it talks about the details, and then it gets to, so it won't stay afloat forever, just long enough. Poor Teddy. So I've told you, so it is very dark. But he's sort of an establishment guy and a whole bunch of things like that. And the Volkswagen Bug, you sort of related to the 60s, right? Okay, maybe not, but it's related to the 60s and kind of a flower power and very much a cheaper car to own. So a rich guy wouldn't have owned it anyway. But if he'd been smart enough to have this car, instead of rich enough to have a bigger car, his life could have gone better for him. So that's all verbal. It is all about the words in operation. Okay. So that is essentially where we're going. I'm going to talk some on Wednesday. I'm going to talk some more about type. Before Wednesday, I'm going to post a tutorial on getting your images over from Photoshop over to Illustrator, and some different ways you can lay them out, how you can come from a horizontal portrait image and find a vertical image in it. It's the reason we're working with very big photographs. How you could do multiple things, putting in a frame, working with the frame, all those different things. I'm going to try to have all that stuff in the tutorial so you can see it. And then you can decide on that visual structure. And then we're going to start working with fonts. And I'm going to explain some theoretical things to you about fonts. We'll take a look at the fake Instagram post creator, and then I'll get you that link, and we'll take a look at it. And then week from today, you're going to present your poster. Reason you're going to present your poster is so that you can explain why you did the things you did, so that when I look at it, ultimately, then I'm going to understand better why the things that are there, because you've explained why. And that will give me context when I look at it, because if I look at it just based on aesthetics and things like that and the things I've talked about, but if you have a reason, the thing about creativity is you just need a reason for things. Then on that day, a week from now, we won't have a huge amount of time, and I obviously talk too much, but I will give you a feedback on your images, and then you will have another week to tune up what you're doing. And then after that, we'll start moving on to the lexicon, and you will be fine-tuning this. We've had a lot of time to work on it. I have high expectations. I'm hoping that all these different activities we've done will result in a very well thought out and made poster. That is really a nice picture of that building. But see down here at the bottom, it bothers me. These aren't level. They're not even. They're like all over the map. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna push on to as far as I can go, and then we'll move beyond that after that. So as soon as I get that tutorial out, I will send it, and as soon as I can do the other parts, I will get them to you. Any specific questions right now?
Sir, I have a question. Are we doing the posters on Illustrator or Photoshop? Which one is it?
Okay, it's both.